History is rarely fueled by grand ideology alone. Behind every empire that marched, every legion that conquered, and every army that survived the harshest campaign trails lay a humble, pungent bulb: the onion. For thousands of years, military logistics hinged entirely on preservation. Long before refrigeration, armies required calorie-dense, moisture-rich rations that could endure months of brutal campaign trails without spoiling. More than mere food, the onion was an antiseptic powerhouse, a hydration source, and a currency of survival. It built the logistics of ancient warfare, turning fragile human expeditions into unstoppable, conquering tides. To understand the rise of human civilization and the supremacy of its armies, we must trace the humble lineage of the world's most enduring and vital vegetable. This is the untold story of the onion, the quiet, tear-inducing vegetable that literally built the armies of the world. Long before human domestication, hardy wild allium species thrived in the unforgiving, rocky terrain of Central Asia, surviving extreme freezes and blistering summer droughts. Ancient hunter-gatherers quickly discovered that these pungent underground bulbs were not only edible, but packed with intense flavor, natural sugars, and critical medicinal properties. As human tribes began to settle and domesticate local flora, the onion was among the very first plants cultivated, prized for its astonishing resilience and adaptability to varied soils. Carried along early trade routes that would eventually form the Silk Road, these resilient bulbs traveled out of the Asian highlands into the fertile river basins of the ancient world. Genetically engineered by nature to store water and nutrients in concentric defensive layers, the onion became a masterclass in biological architecture long before human engineering. In the cradle of civilization, between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers, early city-states recognized that storing these bulbs meant surviving the inevitable lean seasons between harvests. Among the earliest written records of humanity are agricultural ledgers and religious texts detailing the harvest, trade, and ritualistic offering of onions. The onion had transformed from a wild forest root into a foundational commodity, capable of sustaining trade networks and feeding expanding populations across continents. In ancient Egypt, the onion achieved divine status. It was not merely food, it was the biological engine that built the pyramids, sustaining the massive labor force required for antiquity's greatest monuments. According to historical records, onions formed a core part of the daily wages for pyramid builders, providing essential vitamins, calories, and hydration under the scorching desert sun. The concentric circles of the onion symbolized eternity to the Egyptians. They viewed its layers as a map of the universe, swearing oaths upon it as modern courts swear upon holy books. Pharaohs took the vegetable into the afterlife. Onions were discovered packed into the eye sockets, chest cavities, and pelvic regions of mummies like Ramesses IV, used for their powerful antibacterial properties in mummification. Revered as a deity and condemned by some local priesthoods who feared overconsumption, the Egyptian onion was both sacred object and common fuel, a dual identity unique in antiquity. The Ebers Papyrus prescribes onions for everything from cardiovascular ailments to snake bites, noting their remarkable ability to ward off infections in a pre-antibiotic world. Without the humble onion, the physical endurance required for monumental state engineering would have collapsed under the weight of malnutrition and disease. Phoenician traders exported Egyptian agricultural genius across the Mediterranean, spreading cultivated alliums to the shores of Europe and changing the culinary and military landscape forever. The botanical blueprint was set. From the banks of the Nile, the onion was ready to fuel the classical warfare of Greece and Rome. In ancient Greece, particularly in Sparta, soldiers consumed a heavy diet of onions before battle. They believed the vegetable cleared the arteries, warmed the blood, and fueled aggressive physical courage. Greek trainers fed their Olympic athletes large quantities of onions, recognizing them as an early performance-enhancing superfood that built stamina and muscle recovery. As the Roman Empire expanded, the legionary ration standard was locked in. Every Roman soldier on the march carried wheat, salt, lard, vinegar, and a steady supply of onions and garlic. Onions were not just provisions, they were tactical fuel. A Roman legion could march up to 20 miles a day in full battle gear, sustained by the reliable carbohydrates and medicinal punch of their field rations. Pliny the Elder dedicated extensive passages in his Natural History to the onion, detailing dozens of medical remedies, noting how they cured vision problems, bites, and stomach ailments. In an era before modern antiseptic science, the natural antimicrobial compounds in onions saved countless Roman soldiers from dying of infected wounds on distant frontiers. Onions were so valuable across the empire that they frequently served as currency, used to pay taxes, settle debts, and trade with conquered tribes along the Limus borders. As the Roman Empire fractured, its grand logistical networks collapsed, but the onion remained, embedded permanently in the survival instincts of the European continent. Through the turbulent centuries of the early Middle Ages, Christian monasteries became botanical arks, preserving culinary and medicinal onion varieties for a changing world. In medieval Europe, onions were so economically essential that tenants frequently paid their feudal land rent using strings of dried onions woven together in long braids. During brutal medieval sieges, when supplies dwindled and starvation threatened both attackers and defenders, the humble onion was often the last remaining food source standing between life and death. Believed to absorb airborne pestilence and ward off the Black Death, onions became spiritual and physical shields hung in doorways across Europe during terrifying plague outbreaks. Medieval physicians utilized onion poultices to draw out poisons, treat respiratory infections, and disinfect wounds, proving that folk wisdom often aligned with modern chemistry. For the European peasantry, the onion was the backbone of daily survival. Eaten raw with bread or boiled into thin broths, it provided essential warmth and nutrition through brutal winters. Even Norse raiders and explorers packed dried onions on their legendary longships, relying on their long shelf life to prevent scurvy and sustain raiding parties across icy northern seas. By the late Middle Ages, specialized onion markets established entire commercial districts in cities like London and Paris, cementing the bulb as a cornerstone of urban European food security. Though sometimes dismissed by Renaissance elites as food fit only for peasants, master chefs across Europe secretly relied on onions as the foundational aromatic base for high culinary art. The stage was now set for the ultimate global expansion. As European explorers crossed the uncharted Atlantic, they brought the onion to entirely new worlds. When Spanish and Portuguese explorers set sail for the Americas, they packed their holds with onions, not just as rations, but as botanical cargo destined to transform foreign agricultural ecosystems. Upon arrival in the Americas, explorers introduced European alliums to indigenous agricultural systems, where they were eagerly adopted and integrated into local farming traditions. Native populations across North and South America quickly recognized the hardiness and flavor of the introduced bulb, incorporating onions into indigenous culinary and medicinal practices. Across the frozen frontiers of the North American fur trade, onions served as precious currency and vital protection against scurvy for isolated trappers braving brutal winters. The expansion of global maritime trade turned the onion into a truly planetary commodity, crisscrossing oceans in the holds of imperial merchant fleets. By the time colonies fought for independence, home gardens and farmsteads across the New World relied on onions as an absolute household staple for year-round survival. Even during the American Revolution, General George Washington's underfunded troops relied on whatever onions could be scavenged to fight off malnutrition, scurvy, and camp fevers. As clipper ships sped across global shipping lanes, onions remained an indispensable weapon against scurvy and starvation on record-breaking voyages around the globe. The botanical traveler had conquered the globe. Now, the Industrial Revolution would transform how humanity planted, harvested, and consumed the mighty onion. The dawn of mechanization revolutionized agriculture. Hand planting and harvesting gave way to heavy machinery, turning local farm plots into massive commercial onion empires. Today, modern mega-farms produce billions of pounds of onions annually, utilizing precision GPS tractors, drip irrigation, and advanced soil science to maximize global yields. Cutting-edge technology now dictates cultivation. Autonomous drones and AI-driven robots monitor crop health, pest resistance, and soil moisture down to the individual plant level. Harvested by the ton, onions are rushed through automated washing, optical grading, and high-speed packaging lines before being shipped to supermarkets worldwide. Seamless global supply chains ensure that whether you are in New York, Tokyo, or London, crisp, fresh onions are available year-round, regardless of regional growing seasons. Agricultural geneticists continuously breed new varieties for disease resistance, storage longevity, and customized flavor profiles, balancing sweetness and pungency for modern palates. Global commodity markets track onion yields with fierce intensity. A bad harvest in India or a drought in Europe can trigger international trade bans and send global food inflation soaring. Beyond armies and empires, beyond global trade and industrial megafarms, the true power of the onion lies tucked deep inside its chemistry, a potent pharmacy of nutrition and medicine. To truly appreciate this remarkable vegetable, we must look beneath the kitchen counter and examine the biochemical arsenal that made it humanity's greatest nutritional ally. When you chop an onion, you trigger a chemical warfare defense mechanism millions of years in the making. Volatile sulfur compounds mix with enzymes to form a gas that instantly turns to sulfuric acid upon hitting human tears. That exact chemical pungency was evolved by the plant to deter pests, insects, and microbes in the wild, traits that humans weaponized for their own health and survival. Rich in powerful antioxidants like quercetin and sulfur-rich amino acids, onions are biochemical powerhouses that reduce inflammation, lower blood pressure, and combat cellular aging. Long before the discovery of penicillin, traditional healers across every continent used raw onion extracts to treat bacterial infections, respiratory illnesses, and stubborn wounds. Regular consumption of allium vegetables significantly improves cardiovascular health, regulating cholesterol levels and preventing blood clots in ways modern pharmacology is only beginning to fully map. Packed with essential vitamin C and B6, chromium, and dietary fiber, onions deliver massive metabolic benefits with almost zero caloric cost, the ultimate nutritional efficiency. By arming the human immune system with natural defense compounds, the onion has quietly protected human populations through every plague, famine, and war in recorded history. From ancient battlefield remedies to modern oncology research, the chemical blueprint of the onion continues to surprise and heal humanity across generations. As we look toward the future of human civilization, space exploration, and sustainable agriculture, the humble onion remains our most faithful botanical companion. In every culture, across every culinary tradition on Earth, the onion serves as the invisible foundational baseline, the aromatic soul that transforms raw ingredients into art. No other single vegetable bridges global culinary divides quite like the allium. From fiery curries to delicate broths, the onion speaks a universal language of flavor and comfort. Behind every supermarket display and restaurant dish lies the timeless dedication of agricultural workers who continue a 10,000-year-old tradition of cultivation and harvest. When we consume an onion today, we participate in an ancient ritual shared by pharaohs, Roman legionaries, medieval peasants, and space explorers, a literal taste of human endurance. Modern science continues to unlock new biochemical secrets within the allium family, proving that nature's most effective medicine was growing quietly underground all along. Empires rise and fall, wars are fought and forgotten, and technologies become obsolete. Yet the humble onion endures, quietly sustaining the march of human history. Beneath every papery layer lies the story of our survival, our triumphs, and our future. The onion is, and always will be, the vegetable that built the world.